Good day to you, Ninth and O. This is Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people. I'm Brandon, one of your ministry assistants. It's good to be with you today. Our Bible reading brings us today to Psalm 49. Psalm 49 is a wisdom psalm. Now, you know that wisdom psalms provide for you and I understanding on how to live a life devoted to God. This psalm brings to us a right understanding of how to deal with money. And we consider then today the psalmist who portrays those who trust in wealth rather than trusting in God. Now, Psalm 49 shows you and I their outcome that leads to certain death and away from their material things. And so we look, verses 1 through 4 open up a call to listen to the wisdom that's going to be provided in this psalm. And so as people gather around to hear this psalm, the psalmist then describes for us in verses 5 through 9 that no amount of money can help one to cheat death. Look at verse 7. Verse 7 says, "Truly no man can ransom another or give to God the price of his life." Verse 8, "For the ransom of their life is costly and can never suffice." There is no money that you and I can give to cheat death. In fact, you and I know today that 1 out of 1 people die. And so we understand that money cannot be used to buy eternal life. He continues in verses 10 through 12 to remind us that wealth is temporary and death again is certain. And we realize that. There's a chorus here in verses 12 and 20 of this psalm that reads, "Man in his pomp will not remain. He is like the beasts that perish." And so wealth is temporary. Death is indeed certain. In verses 13 through 15, we're told that we see the outcome of those who trust in wealth versus those who trust in God. Again, those who are trusting in their wealth are led down to Sheol. It says in verse 14. And in verse 15, for a believer, it says, "But God will ransom my soul from the power of Sheol, for he will receive me." And so here we have this difference of those who trust in wealth are headed to a certain death away from God in Sheol, whereas believers who trust in God are found to be received by God in heaven. You know, I'm reminded of trusting in wealth when people die and they're bringing the corpse to the cemetery. I've never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. And that's so true that we can't take what we've accumulated here on earth with us to the grave. And so as we close out this psalm, verses 16 through 20, this is an encouragement to believers to not fear the rich, but to consider their end. And so as we consider that, this psalm is written for us to understand practically how believers should deal with money. Now let me ask you a question. Is money bad? No, money is not bad. In fact, Paul tells Timothy in 1 Timothy 6:10 that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So money is necessary. We need it to survive. Rather, let's us trust the one who provides for us. Whether God provides you much money or whether He provides you a little money, whatever it is, we trust Him to provide for our needs. Now, we use our money to glorify God, and we need to be mindful of our spending. In fact, the first purchase or the first spending we should do every time we get maybe a monthly check or however many times you're paid is to be a good steward and to give back to God first. Give back to God first. He's given you the money in the first place. Honor Him with your first fruit. Give back to God and live on less. Maybe we need to train ourselves to live on less so we can be more generous for the things of God. The Lord loves a cheerful giver. And so as we consider our giving, let's remember that the Lord does indeed love a cheerful giver. So this psalm has talked to us about a chasing after wealth. I've seen that title somewhere. A chasing after wealth. And so let us, you and I, instead of choosing to chase wealth, let's you and I chase after God and follow God and trust Him to provide for us, whether it be much or whether it be little. God will be praised as we live a life to glorify Him, even as we deal with our money. Blessings to you, 9th and O.